Alright, sorry about any of the wind noise in the background or whatever, but welcome to the worst automotive channel on YouTube, possibly the worst channel on YouTube. And this is my 1988 Buick Riata. If you've been watching for a while, one of the few people that have, then you're probably well familiar with this car. I bought it a couple of months ago as a replacement for my DeVille that went out. Still own the DeVille, but it doesn't run. Transmission is gone. It'll be a project car on the channel later, but I figured I'd just do another video where I talk about everything wrong with this car. There are more problems that I haven't got to fix. They're cosmetic, but there are more problems. They are cosmetic issues, though. But that old video, I'm pretty sure, was on a shaky camera and not good, so I figure I'll redo it. But anyway, you have here my 1988 Buick Riata, and I should start off as I do with every video, since I'm sure the vast majority of people who are probably going to see this video are new, hopefully. The Buick Riata was a low-volume, low-volume, front-wheel drive, V6, manual transmission, touring coupe, sports coupe, whatever you want to say it. Although it's not a true sports car. Now, forgive it for being a little dirty. I work on stuff, so I do try to keep the car pretty clean, but this side's a little dirty from my hands. Yeah, it's a low-volume sports car. They made it for 4 years. This particular one has a touchscreen in it because the first 2 years, if you want to know what year your Riata is, or what year a Riata is that you're looking at without VIN or anything like that, check the center console. If the center console, I'll show you the center console and everything in a minute, but if it has a touch screen, it is either an 88 or 89. In 90, they drop the touch screen. So if it does not have a touch screen, just a normal dash, it is either a 90 or 91. In 90 and 91, they also have a convertible version of this car. This obviously is not. This is the first year in pearl white. Every time I clean it, it gets specks and stuff on it, but that's because it's outside. But anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and get into the problems with it. It's been long enough, 2 minutes of me not even talking about the problems, and first of all, we'll get into cosmetic. The paint, even though this is the original paint job with the original pinstriping, is really good. We've got some issues here and there, some scratches and stuff like that, smudges, but most of that's just from it sitting outside. Cracks and stuff in the paint, stone chips, not that big of a deal. Of course, discoloration on the plastic window housing. And the wheels are covered in brake dust. I keep cleaning them. That makes me suspect I probably am going to need new brake pads. Probably need to replace those pretty soon. They don't squeak or whine or anything, but them shooting out all the brake dust probably means they're not the greatest. So those probably need to be changed. We'll get to the tires while I'm looking at it. Those are definitely need to be changed. The round spinny wheel things that are made out of rubber, if you know how to read a tire, pro tip. Well, actually, one of the ways you can read a tire, these, as you can see, look pretty decent. There's not hardly any dry rot in them. There's really actually no dry rot in them, at least on this side, or cracking. Well, there's a little bit, but it's not terrible. But none of that really matters, because if you want to see how old your car is, look at this dot. See the dot right there, and then read those 4 numbers. That is the 41st week of 2009. So I want you to keep in mind, this is the car I drive every day, so I'm very safe. I'm a very safe person, very safe individual. I drive it down the highway doing about 70 miles an hour, very safe. Now, the Buick back here on the fading out bar, which every single light still does work in this bar, by the way, which if you didn't know, it's each and an individual bulb in that assembly. But every time I wash the car, one of the letters falls out. So now it's just a BK. It's no longer a Buick, it's a BK. Of course, it's missing one of those light thingies that shows you the tag, but it's got one of them on there, so cops and officials can see it at night. Missing a trim piece. I still have it. All of my trim except for that U, I still have. I've just been too lazy to put it on, or if I went to go buy any. Technically, you're probably supposed to remove those clips. I'm just going to glue them onto the car, because if I ever sell this car, I already probably know who's going to buy it from me. Which, again, I don't plan on selling the car for a good long while. Not saying it would never happen, but I don't really plan on selling it anytime soon. So, whatever. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be gluing those parts back on so that they don't ever fall off again until 20 years later, and then until 15 years later, and there's someone else's problem probably. Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Of course, you have the sunroof. Fun fact about these sunroofs on these cars, they actually use the exact same gasket for the sealant as an RX-7. Not a 80s RX-7, but a 90s RX-7, the one from Fast and the Furious, the very iconic one. Which they're all iconic, because of course you have the other one. If you're a fan of, if you like anime or anything like that, and cars, you probably know Initial D, and you know that car. But if not, in that show, Initial D, there's a show called Initial D. It's a racing show. And it has an RX-7 in it from the 80s. Well, anyway, as you can see, my really shoddy gasket up here, it for the most part used to keep leaks out, but now it drips when we have torrential downpours, where it didn't used to before. So I need to open it and put a new piece of foam in it. I need to actually break down and buy the real gasket, but the only reason it's like this is because that RX-7 gasket, since they don't make them for the Riata, because apparently the sunroof is like very dumb rare in these cars. It's not common. Okay. It's not common at all to have a Riata with a sunroof. So they don't make the gaskets for them. There's just not big enough of a demand. Because you got to keep in mind, they only made 21,000 of these cars throughout 4 years. This is the very first production, so I'm assuming they probably made the most for this year. 88 is probably more common than 89 and so forth and so forth, with 90 being the rarest, or 91 probably being the rarest year. I believe 88 is probably the most common, but I don't know. I could also be wrong. It could also be the least common, as far as it goes from the convertibles. The convertible's the rarest. But they just don't make a gasket for it anymore. You got to keep in mind, there's probably 21,000 is the number. That's what they made. 21,000 cars. There probably only 10, 15, if that. There might only be 8,000 cars left on the road of these little Buicks. Because again, 3800, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to all of that in a second. So they don't make a gasket, and the gasket for an RX-7 from the 90s is expensive. $350 expensive. Now, if you know of where you can find one for cheaper, I'd be more than happy to know. I'd love that. Believe it or not, I would love to open my sunroof every now and then, occasionally, just a few times, a couple of times. We'll go ahead and open the trunk, and I'll show you the trunk. It is a little dirty. I have a couple things back there. I have a couple things of the trunk. Sorry for the video getting really shaky for a second. Now, a fun thing is when you unlatch it, it'll do this. I'm not messing with the key. I'm holding this in my hand. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Of course, I need to fix this seal right here. I haven't looked up how much a trunk seal is, because as you can see right here, that's broken, and it's not making a proper seal. So down here, with the spare and the original rusty jack, I'm sure that's safe to use, and the rusty kind of, what is that, mold? No, that's rust. That's rust. The rusty steel tire, that's the original spare, by the way. You can see the dry rot on it. It's very safe to use. It's building moisture down there, so I need to fix that sometime soon. As you can see, you can see the seal's broken right here and right here. So I need to fix that. Antifreeze is in there because I did a flush. I flushed out the radiator. There's nothing wrong with this car mechanically at all. Forgetting the keys. Again, more dirt. I'm gonna have to wash this car. Antenna, my radio does not work. My dash does not work. I've been trying to figure out that, and I really need to. I really do need to fix that dash. I really need to get on it and fix the dash. Because I bought it like that. I figured it was just going to be the dash itself that done went out. So I bought a new dash and went to replace it. And that was not the problem. I believe it's probably a relay. It is probably a relay. Just haven't checked it yet. Because the car runs just fine. But I really want my dash. My dash would be pretty nice to have. It'd be a very cool item. Shoot, I'm going to have to go back to the trunk again because I forgot the hood prop. We'll get to that in a second. We ain't going to worry about that. We are not going to worry about the hood prop right now. No. Now, as you can see, if the interior looks kind of like this, mainly this, and you see that right there, it is either an 88, 89. And that right there, the touchscreen, is a surefire way to tell. Is it an 88 or 89? And another way, each car is a little different. I don't know about the 90s. But if you have a first year, you're not going to have any handles in the glove box. If it is a first year Riata, there are no handles. It's a little button right here. You can see it. It's a little button on the glove box. Now, touchscreen, obviously it works. The radio does not. I believe it's the antenna circuit or whatever's in it. It says service engine soon, but that's only because it's not on. I think there's something messed up on the electrical here. But as soon as the car is running, it's perfectly fine. Now, I said there was nothing mechanically wrong with it. There really isn't. But I think the thermostat is starting to go out, so I do need to replace that, or else I'm going to blow my head gaskets. So I don't really want that. I don't want to be rebuilding the engine, which it's an all-iron motor. Voltage is a little low. It should pick up in a second, we hope. Now, on the inside of the car, we're going to go ahead and turn off the AC, which it does work. It blows really cold. The heater does as well. I have the motor for this window. As you're about to say, yeah, the window does not roll down. I bought it and everything was working, and then the window stopped rolling down and some of the letters started to fall off. Other than that, nothing really else has happened. Same for this instrument panel thing over here. I did not buy the car like this. I did this myself. I still have the piece that covers up, the trim piece that covers everything up right here. I just have yet. We're gonna turn off the car because, as I said, it does try to. Its thermostat needs a replacement. I've noticed it just started happening like a little while ago. So I do need to replace the thermostat. It's like $2-3. If I can get the head mount to work, I'll probably do a video on replacing it. Anyway, I do actually still have the trim piece and all the bolts. I removed it myself because if it's not the relay, it's this right here, most likely. The thing I'm kicking and probably shouldn't be, but we're going to anyway. The central computer is what that is. All that does is it controls this and all the power stuff. which I'm kind of certain I'm kind of sure it's not that, because most of the power stuff works. If it doesn't work, it's because it probably hasn't worked in 15 years. It's old 80s GM. And this car was well kept, but it was driven a lot, and it shows it. Of course, you have the original floor mats, which I really need to change out and clean. Forgive me for having the car be a little dirty. I do need to clean it out. I drive this car every day, and the stuff that's in here is stuff I pretty much either keep with the car to work on it, and I'm not too worried about it. This is not a beater car, per se, but it is my daily car. So I do try to keep it clean, do try to maintain it pretty well. But it's not the worst car ever. I try to keep it clean. Now, my headliner is knackered. I need to fix it. Probably never going to happen, because I don't know where I'm going to find headliner for a Riata. Because as you can see right there, it's fallen down. Probably where the sunroof was leaking, because it was leaking. And I had to fix that. Cassette tape does not work. Window motor, as I said, doesn't work. It'd be nice to roll it down every now and then. I have the motor for it, just yet to put it in. And it'd be nice. It would be very nice to roll down my window occasionally. I should probably do that. We'll go ahead and move underneath the hood. Start it up so I don't... Oh, and there's buttons everywhere in this car. All of them work. Headlights, sometimes they don't want to pop up if the motor isn't on. There we go. Headlights, click, but they work. I need to see what's wrong with that. I've been doing that for a while. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I don't do it intentionally, I promise. I just don't, I'll be honest with you, I just don't know what I'm looking at, and I don't want to tear something up. I know it's going to get tore up anyway if I don't address the problem, but that's the main reason I hadn't done it yet. But I do need to address some of them smaller issues before they turn into bigger issues. Grab my state-of-the-art hood prop, a piece of PCP pipe, because the hood latches do not work anymore. I mean, the hood struts don't work. That's not that big of a deal. I just need to pick up some from the parts house or something like that. Not a crazy big deal. It's just a little aggravating to put the hood down. Well, let's try this here. You're going to see the sky for a second. Hold on. There we go. Very fun. Anyway, we're back at it. As you can see, my state-of-the-art battery with some tape. Get off my battery. Dixie Dominator. Oh, I spit a little bit. That was gross. Okay. Dixie Dominator. Very cool battery. I'm sure it's been in here since the early 2000s. But 3800 V6, I'm gonna have to start over. Okay, so jump cut maybe, possibly, I don't know. It depends on if I edited the video or not. If not, you won't even see this, and I'll have probably deleted it. Okay, so back underneath the engine. First of all, the engine is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with the engine minus the dipstick. That's factory. As that one dude would say, it's factory. My motor mounts are a little old, but they look like they've been replaced. It leaks a tad bit of oil, but it does have 200-something thousand miles on it. Of course, you can see the new shiny battery thingy hooked up to the water pump. Which is also new and shiny, as well as the tensioner. It's also new and shiny. Soon, this is probably going to be new and shiny unless there's a hose messed up, because it leaks just a tad. I need to put some transmission fluid in it. When I ended the video, I added some coolant, was a little low. Found out I got my Dixie Dominator I was talking about. That's a marine battery, by the way. Of course, you can see the AC compressor down there, U-clamp. Those are really good for horsepower. You can see fuse box, relay. I need to check that. Of course, your air cleaner. Also need to check that. Your strut towers and little popper-upper things. They pop up your headlights in case they don't have any power running to them. And then hooking up to your transaxle, which I need to put a little juice in it. Just a tad. Now, as far as lights go, all of them work except for these because I like to live dangerously. Well, they work. I don't have high beams. I need to replace those. I don't do a lot of night driving, so it's not that big of a deal. I can still see at night. I just can't turn on highs. The side cornering lamps do not work. I need a new bulb for them. That's not that big of a deal. Turn signals, everything. Car's still legal. Everything still works on it. What is this? Washer fluid. Oh, that's empty. That would explain why it does nothing when I clean my window. Okay, so that's empty. I need to replace that. Probably a major leak there. A little rusty from road and stuff. Now, this was originally, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but this was, oh, that light? Yeah, that light's a lie. Don't listen to him. I should have started this at the beginning of the video, but this is a Southern car. So we're going to ignore that. This is a Southern car. Been in Alabama its whole life. Was bought in Alabama brand new. It was originally an Alabama car. Bought in Alabama. Lived there for the original owner for about 15 years. Then the second guy, I'm the third owner of this car. The second guy bought it. Forget how long he had it for. But he bought it and owned it for something like 88. No, the first guy might have only owned it for like 5-6 years and then sold it. And the second guy owned it for a good 20 years. Good 22, 23 years. And you could tell. Apparently it was stored. You can see a bit of crackage right there. A little bit of cracks. But all the windows and glass and everything's good on it. It's a really good car. It's no rust, good clean underneath. Just minor issues that I have to fix. Some more major than others. Like these headlights right here. Probably need to check that. Dash is a pretty major problem. Probably could change out the marine battery to an actual car automotive application battery, but it works. See, 620, it works. It's a good battery. Those are expensive, by the way. And of course you can see this is a very old design engine, all iron, internal cam, nothing special, 180 horsepower, 210 foot-pounds of torque. Don't know, 0 to 60, don't know, don't care, 0 to 100, probably can't do it. Handles really good. It's a fun car to drive. Is an automatic. It's an automatic. She's an auto. Yeah, and I guess with that, I'm going to go ahead and say this little bit of the video probably tells you everything that's wrong with it. I'm going to do a checkup, and I'll probably have another video then afterwards. I can't really do a video of that because it's at my school. Oh yeah, that's broken. Don't worry about that. And this video is probably going to be spliced in with another one. As far as what you mean, like the jump cut. It's going to jump abruptly, probably. You've probably already seen that. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you made it this far into the video, if I don't get cut off by a plane, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, the biggest way to do that is to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And spread the word of the channel. Just tell people about it, let them know. Say, hey, this guy's pretty cool. Whatever you want. If you don't like the video, dislike it, whatever, I don't care. But most importantly, other than that, thank you for watching and have a good one.